Hello and welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about bottom sheet in React Native, and for that, I'm going to show you a few more things. First of all, we're going to create this little speed dial button over here, where if you tap on it, it's going to open up a few options, and then you can click on different options here, and that can either direct people to other screens or do any kind of thing that you want to do. I'm showing it on Android right now. I have this little button here to add results for the workout. So if you don't know, this is what we built at the end of last video when I showed you how you can implement Sanity CMS and kind of integrate that with your React Native application. So what I will be doing here is tapping on this button here and then selecting this option to add workout of the day. And then we have this bottom sheet that's going to pop up, and you can see this is a modal kind of that's popping up in front of the bottom navigation that we have here. As you can see, I'm going to also show you how you can add input fields in this bottom sheet, because there's a little bit of there's some tricky things that you need to make sure you take care of when you're handling iOS or Android for these, and I'll show you all that, and then eventually we'll be able to implement a nice bottom sheet for both iOS and Android. And you can see we have the same thing over here in iOS as well, pretty much same functionality, and everything works fine. So with that, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to work on Android right now, and then mostly everything is going to be the same between Android and iOS, but there is a little bit at the end that I will show on both and how we can handle the differences there. So what I'm going to do at this point, this is the starting code. I will put a link in the description box below the video. As I mentioned in the intro section, this is where we integrated CMS, the Sanity CMS, and we are starting from there. What I have here is a list of workouts for every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You can click and it will switch between them. And what I want to add is a little speed dial, what we call speed dial, a little button down here that I can tap on it, and it's going to give me a couple options. Normally with the workouts, we have a strength workout and the workout of the day, or WOD. So you can tap in on that. The little speed dial will open two options for you, either for you to add your WOD, workout of the day result, or the strength result. So we're going to implement workout of the day. You can do similar things for the strength, and I'll have more videos in the future that I will show you a few cool things that we can do with that as well. But right now I'm going to implement that speed dial. For that, we're going to use React Native Elements. I already have it installed, and I demoed it in another video that I did. But real quick, going through the documentation here, we are start using Expo. So if you're starting from scratch, just there's a template that you can do, but since we already have our template set up with React Native, with Tailwind CSS and TypeScript, and we have like Expo router and all that, we are using an existing Expo project, and so basically we're going to have to install all the dependencies. So you can go ahead and install the themed and base from React Native Element UI, and then once you do that, for the sphere dependencies, we do not need to install React Native Vector icons because we're using Expo, and it already includes React Native Vector icons. So you can skip that step, and then also you need to install the React Native safe area context, and I believe that should be it, and you should be good if you're running your Expo application. With that, once those are installed, you should be able to see them in your package.json file. So I'm going to open that over here real quick, and what I have, I had the React Native safe area context, as well as base and themed from React Native Elements. So keep that in mind. We do that, and then if you look at the list of components that they have here, if you scroll down, you should see speed dial over here, and that's basically what we want to see here. You tap on it, it opens some options. So I'm going to use something very similar to the example that they have over there. So first thing, we need to import it, and to do that we can just simply do import speed dial from RNEUI /themed. Make sure it's /themed over here, and then I'm just going to copy and paste the piece of code that I have here for a speed dial. Let's see, and you can add that basically outside your scroll view, this scroll view that I have over here, to show all these all the data that I have over here. Depending on your application, you might want to make sure that you have this also set up correctly. This can be like really outside, just inside the view that you have for the whole screen. For example, this screen that I have this view, and then just towards the bottom of this view, I'm adding a speed dial. A few things that we need to add: we need a state to keep track of it, open or close. So I'm going to add a state up here that going to keep track of whether it's open or closed, and by default it's going to be false, it's going to be closed. And if you see here, the is open prop that we have is referencing that. Then for the icon here, that's the icon that will show up here. And for that, I believe if you look at the icons in the same library, they give you access to a lot of icons. I believe by default the type is material. So if I go to the material icons over here and I select, for example, add, this is going to be the plus button that I get, and that's the name. Add in the color. For now I'm just giving it gray. We'll work on it in a little bit. But the next thing is open icon. When it's open, we're going to show an X, which is the close. This X here, once that's open and you can see the items, this X over here. And then you have I have two action. Each action is going to be for one of these items. The first one, I'm going to use this icon over here. Again, I got it from material. So directions, what was that? Directions dash run. So this one here, directions run, that's what I'm using. And then there's another icon, fitness center, and I can use that as well for the other one over right here. So anyways, we do need to have on open and on close for our speed dial. And then for the actions, we also need to have an on press. The title is what will be shown right next to each icon over here. So for the on open and on close, we are basically just whatever it is, we are going to do the reverse. So if it's open, it closes. If it's closed, it's going to open it. And then this one over here, that is what I will get to in a little bit. Right now, I'm going to just add an empty function here. And with that, we should be able to see what I see right here. So if I tap on this, it's going to open two items. The gray that you can see here is the gray that I have selected for the icon color. And then by default, the background is the color that you see here. We're going to also update those. So for this, I have been using this template that I have with the Tailwind CSS and different theming. So go back to check out my other videos, but I'm going to use some color theming that I currently have. So I'm going to use the use theme from React Navigation Native. So that's what I'm importing here, and you can go back and check out my video on using themes and setting up these themes that we have. Basically, you can see it. I can go to dark mode and light mode and system mode, and by using that use theme, I can grab the colors that I have defined through my different variables and Tailwind configuration. So I have that, and the next thing I need to do is to use these colors, and I have multiple colors that I can use. Basically for this gray here, I'm going to use colors dot, I believe, text. Yeah, so let's do that. So as I start typing colors dot text, and you will see that with that now this is turned to black. And then for the background color, we need to add just a color prop to our speed dial and the actions. And for that, I'm going to use a color notification that I have set up. And with that, that's going to change it to the screen icon that I have. And these are theme sensitive. So if I go to dark theme, you'll see that that changed to red with kind of like white grayish text color, which we have here, and that's the color of the icon. And then if I go back and do light, that's going to change it to green and black that we had. And just in case if you're wondering where these are, I do have a table config over here, but also I have utilities theme options. You can see I have different colors over here, and everything is set up there. And again, go back and check out my other videos that I had about theming. So with that said, we have set this up, it's ready. The next step is when we click or tap on this add WOD here, which is workout of the day, we want to open that bottom sheet so that we can add the WOD result. All right, so the next step is for us to handle the clicking or tapping on this add WOD and then opening the bottom sheet over here. So what we're going to do for that is using this library, bottom sheet by Gorham. I'll put a link in the description box below the video for this and the documentation. You can check it out. But we are going to use the bottom sheet modal. So basically, it has a bottom sheet and a modal. Modal will pop in front of the bottom tabs over here, kind of like a modal, just in front of everything. But just the normal bottom sheet will be kind of like behind that bottom navigation that we have here. So that's what we're going to do. We're using bottom sheet modal. So for that, and again, you can look at the documentation over here. A few things that you need to install is the actual library. So I've already done this. You could do npx expo install and then the library name, and you do need to have React Native reanimated and gesture handler. And as you can see here, if you're using expo, you can do npx expo install and have these two also added to your package.json file. I already have those, so let's take a look. I have the Gorham bottom sheet, and that's version 4.6.3. And then I also have the React Native gesture handler and React Native animated, so you can see everything is already installed in my project right now. The first thing we need to do is to add a provider for this. So but how it works is that you need to have the Gorham or the provider that this library has, and add that to your main app.tsx file, or in case of the project that I have here, I'm using Expo Router. So my main layout under my app directory is where I'm going to add that provider. So this is basically called bottom sheet provider, and that's what we're going to use. As you can see here, bottom sheet modal provider. Just keep in mind, again, we are using modal, and then we can actually wrap all our different navigation in the drawer, which is our upper level navigation. We have this drawer, and then inside the home drawer we have this bottom navigation. So we can actually wrap everything inside that bottom sheet modal provider. So I'm going to do that here, and right here I will be adding that, and then that is the first step that we need to do. So just wrap your application with this bottom sheet modal provider, and that's the first step. Then in the screen that you want to use that bottom sheet provider, which for me is this index.tsx for my dashboard page, I'm going to implement the logic to tap on this, add what over here, and then pop up that bottom sheet modal. So to do that, first of all, we need to define a ref. So with the bottom sheet, we get the bottom sheet modal ref. So I'm going to import this from React, and this is going to be from Gorham bottom sheet. So we do need that. This is the reference to this bottom sheet modal. And then I'm going to also add what's called the snap points. And again, if you look at their documentation, it's recommended to use memo for this. So this is, for example, you'll have the bottom sheet come to like 25% of the screen, 50% of the screen, and 90%. Then you can like kind of tap and drag it down to those three snap points. I'll show you again how that looks like in a minute. In order to actually open this modal, we will have a click or tab handler, and that's what we have down here in our speed dial action. The add what one that we have here, we want to invoke that function. So we're going to unpress, we're going to call this function over here. Again, looking at the documentation, use callback here, and then we have the we can get rid of this for now, we don't need that. Bottom sheet modal ref.current.present. So this is going to open up the bottom sheet modal for us. And lastly, what we need to do is actually adding the bottom sheet modal UI to our view over here that we have. So we can actually add that right after the speed dial. So I have bottom sheet modal, the reference is the bottom sheet modal ref that I define up here, and then the snap point, first one is going to be when we open this, we want it to snap to the index 2, so 0, 1, 2. So it's going to open up to 90%. We can play with this number in a bit, but on change also there is a function that we can use, and that's when like you make changes to the point or where that bottom sheet is snapped. So I'm going to just do a console log with this function real quick, and let me define this handle sheet changes over here. So you can see basically you have access to the index, and then you can just do whatever you want. If you want to, for example, do something else, show users some feedback when they pull that bottom modal sheet down or up, you can use this function, and we'll see that in a bit. Then inside this here, I also have a backdrop component, so we can also add that as well. Again, these are things that you can grab directly from their documentation. I'm going to add the backdrop render as well, and then I'm going to import these from the library. And then lastly, we need to add what we want to show in the modal when it pops open. So here I'm going to do again a bottom sheet view as you would see in the documentation, and here I'm just going to do a text bottom sheet open. So let's see, we can save this over here, and then if I click on add what, you should see this come into the 90%. So handle sheet changes, that's when this changes. So right now it's at index 2. As I mentioned, originally we set it to 90% index 2. If I show you right here, and then as I move this, you can also drag it, for example, down. Now it's at index 1, which was the 50%, and then you can have also another snap point 25%, and after that it's going to basically get rid of that modal. So I click again on this. You could also tap outside, we'll get rid of that. So that's already implemented, and you can see that the index is going to go to -1, so that's where we are also using disappear on index -1 for the background. So basically you can see that is what we have implemented so far. Again, you can drag it, and this works the same in iOS and Android. So nothing so far is basically different between the two operating systems. Alright, so now here is where I want to show you things. When you open this tab over here, you open the speed dial and then click on add bot. And if you have some stuff that happening here, for example, you want users to add some input in an input box and then click submit to save it, or that kind of thing. It's not just informational. For example, right now I have just text here, but a lot of the time you want actually to get some input from the user here. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. So I have this component that I have created, and I will show you where it is. I have a components folder right now, and then I have my add bot component. So I'm going to quickly import it, and then you'll notice that I have a score type, and also I have a set close sheet here. I'm just going to save it to show you something over here real quick. So if I'm going to click on it, add bot, and then you see that based on the score type of this workout, you can see like a time selector, or for example, this one was like how long it takes people to do the workout. But this one, for example, Thursday over here, its score is total calories plus burpees. So I'm going to click on add bot, and that's going to be a single number. So I have an input here depending on that, and the score type is coming from our sanity implementation that we did. So for each day, for example, Thursday, I had a score type, which is just a number input. And for Saturday, for example, it's time. So we're doing this workout, which at the end of it, you're going to record time. So based on that, if I go to my add bot over here, you will see that I have this scroll view. I have a text saying, hey, enter your result over here. And then just some dummy text, just so that you can see how it works if we have like long content in this bottom sheet. And then depending on the score type, I'm rendering different components. So I have time score, number score, and also a set and rep score. So this is a single number score. Let's see, on Friday, for example, this one is going to be set and rep over here. Ignore the error that we're getting. It's something that that's not relevant. And then so again, we have score types, and based on that, I'm rendering the corresponding component. What I want to show you is in the number input, the number bot score that I have over here. And again, that is just like an input. For the iOS, I have to render a bottom sheet text, and for Android, I'm doing just the text input. And I'm going to show you why that's happening. So right now I'm on Android. So if I tap on this, I can see that I can scroll, and then it kind of push the input up when I have the keyboard. Then I can obviously tap out, so I get rid of that. But if I was going to use this bottom sheet text input for Android as well, so let me do this, get rid of that, and then I actually, let's just get rid of this. And if I save it over here, when I tap on this, it's gonna give me like this white space over here. I can scroll and bring the text and the input back up, but there is like a keyboard size white space here, which is not really what you want. So that's why I will do for Android, I just do a text input over here, and that will get rid of that white space that we had, and it still works fine. You can scroll and the keyboard won't cover your text input here. And then for iOS though, let's take a look at iOS. So I have my iPhone here. I'm going to start my application on iOS real quick, and then again going on, for example, Thursday, where we have that number input over here. If I tap on it right now, again, this is fine, this is working fine. If I were to use text input for this for iOS, then what would happen is that it would cover, and as you can see, I can't even scroll up and get that input really. The keyboard is covering that. So for the iOS, I'm using what's provided by this library, the bottom sheet text input, which is coming from the Gorham, again, this bottom sheet library. So that's what I want to have. So if I save it here, this works fine with iOS as well as Android, as you can see here. So for Android, I use simple text input. For iOS, I use bottom sheet text input. That's the main difference that I've noticed. I will put this code on GitHub and put the link to the code in the description box below the video. So you can see also I've used another library to add if you have like a time, for example, as a result. If you can tap on this one, and it's a time picker that you can select, for example, 20 or whatever. The implementation I think might not be complete, but just showing you how you can basically use a time selector as well. And that's coming from, again, another library, React Native Time Picker, that I will put the link to this one as well in the description box below the video. So hopefully you learned a few things about the bottom sheet modal. Just keep in mind, if you're adding that input field in the modal, you might want to handle iOS and Android differently, so that when keyboard pops up, your UI still looks fine, and your users can enter numbers or text in the input field that you provide to them. All right, with that, thank you again for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys soon.